Imagine getting paid good money for making this royal Chinese princess dress. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to cut and sew this high-end masterpiece step by step. Whether you're sewing for your daughter or your client, this is a money-making design you need to master. My name is Ajulam. Let's get into it. Here are the materials I'll be using to create this beautiful outlook. Here I have my lace. This is half yard. Okay, it's not up to half yard, you can see. So I'll be using 2 yards of my satin, and then I'm working with 3 yards of organdy. So this is going to be for a 3-year-old. So just keep on watching so you get to see how to create this beautiful outfit. So as usual, I'm going to be starting with the pattern. It's going to be a quick one. You can see that my pattern is already drafted out. If you don't know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I have a video on that. You can also check so that you'll see how I got to this point. So I'm going to alter this a little. This part will not take me up to 5 minutes because it's very easy and very simple. I'll also show us how to pipe the neckline and the design on this bodice part. Okay, so I'm going to come to the front. This is the front part, this is the back. So this is my center front. Okay, so I'm going to come to this chest line, you can see here, and then before I do this alteration, I want to alter this neckline as well. So I use 2.5 here. This is for a normal neckline, but because I'll be adding a collar to the neckline, and you need to reduce this so that it will be very fitted on that neckline after sewing. So here I have 2.5 yards. I'm going to make this 2.25, just a little. Okay, then I'm going to readjust this 2.25. All right, but on the width side I'm maintaining my 2.5. Okay, so neck depth now is 2.25. So I'm going to mark from the new neck depth now. I'll mark 2 inches downward. Okay, you can also make it 2.25. It all depends on what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So from here is where my lace will come in. This other part is going to be like the yoke. Then I'll come to the side and go up by 1.5. Okay, so this is my sewing allowance. You can see that I didn't take my tape up to this 1/2 inch. So 1.5 is just from here to here. Okay, then you're going to use your ruler to curve it. Give it any shape that you want. It can be a V, it can be straight, it can be curved. And my front pattern is ready. You can see that it's very simple. Now my lace is going to be here, and my organdy is going to be on this part. Okay, for the back I'm going to repeat the same. Like I said, you can now decide to give the back a straight curve. Whatever you feel like using, you can just go ahead and do that. So I'll quickly do the same on this back side. Okay, from here it's 1.25, and then I'll mark. Then the same thing here, 1.5, and then I'll connect. So after connecting now, I'll quickly cut this out and then cut on my lace so we can start the sewing proper. After cutting everything out, this is what I have. So this is for the back. I'm going to arrange this later. This is the front. Okay, so at this point I'm going to pipe this front. Like I said earlier, I'm going to show us how to pipe, and I'll be using this satin to do the piping. If you want, you can also use any fabric of your choice for the piping, but make sure that the color aligns with what you're working with. Now this is the net for the organza for the upper side. Okay, so this is how it's going to look. Okay, so before I join this with this one, I need to pipe, like I said, and to do that I'm going to measure what I have from here all the way to this end. So I'm going to place my tape like this and check what I have, and then I'm going to be cutting that out on my satin. So this is 7.5. I'll cut that out on my satin, but I'm going to be making it sorry, this is 17 and a half. So 17 and a half is going to be the width, while the height of this, I'll just make it 0.75, okay, so that it's going to be easy for me to pipe. So 0.75, by the time we fold into two, it's going to look smaller to enable us to do the piping, right? So I'm going to measure out 17.5 by 0.75. All right, this is my 17 and a half inches cut out. You can see this is 0.75 and fold. So I'm going to place it now. This is the back side. So we're working, I'll be piping only the front. So this is the front here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch this first on this. Okay, I'm going to sew it very tiny, placing it, following the curve, the shape like that, and stitch it all the way down. So after doing that, I'm going to notch so that this will flatten up very well. By the time we finish sewing, it's going to look like this. Okay, and then I will now place it on top of this, then sew it on top. Okay, so just let me place this on my sewing machine and show you how I'll be doing this part.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. It laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay young forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night,
This is where we are so far. As you can see, I just finished joining this. So for this, I decided to use white. I didn't use the blue again because it wasn't giving me what I really want. So I switched to using off-whites because there's off-whites on the lace. So the next thing to do now is to join the shoulders together separately. And you can see that after joining this, I now fold into two like this and then use it to cut out my lining. Okay, then you repeat the same for the back side. This is the front lining and this is the back lining. So I'm going to join the shoulders together and then repeat the same for the lining. After joining the shoulders together, I'll now measure what I have round the neck before cutting that out. You know, we're going to be attaching a collar to the neck. So I'll just quickly do that. Then on this lining, I'll just join the shoulders together. Now, after adding my collar here, we'll now use my lining to turn it inside out so that it's going to look very neat inside. This is what I'll be using to make the puff sleeve. So for this sleeve, I am using my 1 inch. What I have here is 36 inches. That is 1 yard, sorry. So I'm going to fold, as you can see, to the length of my sleeve. So for this, the length should be 6 inches, but I'll be making it 8 because I want this to be, you know, hidden inside after sewing. You understand better by the time I get to the sewing part. Okay, so I want this to be 8 and you can see this is 36. So I'm going to fold it into two like this. Okay, so I'll fold into two, and then on this edge I'm going to use this. You know, I just want this edge to have the same shape of my sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to just connect it straight like that. Just watch what I'm doing. Use your sleeve pattern. If you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve pattern, I already have a detailed video on that. You can just check that out. So I'll just cut and you can see my sleeve is ready. Very easy. So I will now open it up here so that I can have my the two sleeves together. Just fold into two. So I'll open it up and I'll have two. So we'll just gather this. Okay, but for the lining, you are going to be using this to cut out the lining. Your sleeve lining should not be as wide as this, so your sleeve lining should be this size. So we'll gather everything to have exactly this shape. So I'm going to cut this open and then cut out my satin this way. You know, this is transparent. I'll be using satin on it, so your satin should be the same size with this, but your lining should be smaller, should be like the actual sleeve without puff. So I'll just quickly open this up and then show us how to cut out the skirt. Although I already have so many videos on that, but I'll just quickly repeat for those of us that are just joining. So my sleeve is ready. All I need to do is to use my gather stitch and gather it all the way to the end and repeat the same for this lower side. Okay, so let me quickly show us how to cut out the skirt part. Now to the skirt part, here I have my 3 yards. So I'm going to fold this in a triangle way. Okay, this is my 3 yards here. So I'm going to fold in a triangle way. And then I will spread it out like this. And you can see that it's looking like a triangle. This is the same way you fold your fabric when you want to make a half circle. That is exactly how I am folding. So I'm going to move it up this way, because the length I'm working with is 17 inches for this. So I'm moving it down because I'm going to be marking my 17 inches towards the downside, because I want this to be very fluffy. So I am marking my 17 inches towards this downside. All right, so I'll just arrange this very well and mark my 17 inches. Please remember to add your hemming allowance, but for this I'll be attaching I'll be using crinoline on this hem side. So this is my 17. I'm going to just place it, but for this I'll make it 18 because I'll use half inch for the waist sewing allowance and half inch to sew in my crinoline on the hem side. So that will be 18. So I'll quickly mark my 18. Okay, I'll check it down again. So this is my 18 here. Okay, so now after marking this 18, I'm going to check from this point all the way to the up. Whatever I have there, I'm going to maintain that, okay, so that I can have that curve to cut out. I don't have enough space. I would have placed this on the floor so you can see it very well. All right, I try to lay it this way so you can see what I was explaining. So from this end, I'll just mark the length of my skirt, and then for this one, this is the point. I am working with 18 inches. So from here, this is my 18 inches here. Okay, so from here now, I'm going to measure what I have to this upper side. So this is 38. So I'm going to keep on marking it that way. Same way you mark when you're making a half circle. That is exactly what I am doing here. So I just hold my tape on that edge and keep on marking the point. This is 38. This is 38 until I get to the end. Okay. So from this point, I'll now mark the rest of my skirt length. So I'll cut this out. I'm going to cut this out. You can also use your pin to secure this before cutting. This is an organdy. It can easily move around, so you don't make any mistake. So I'm going to just secure these points before I now cut out the rest of the skirt length. All right, this is it. Now this is what I have remaining. You can see that it's very big. You can also use this to make a small dress for a 6-month-old, so it's still useful. I'm going to keep it aside. So from here now, I'm going to mark the rest of the skirt length. I am working with 18, so I'm going to go ahead, follow the points and the curve, and then mark out the rest of the skirt length, and after which I'll cut it out so we can start the skirt sewing and then the finishing up of the dress. Let's talk about how to price this dress and turn it into a lucrative income stream. All right, so the first thing to do is to know your total cost price. So I'm going to be using all the materials that I used in this video to explain. Now I used 3 yards of organdy, which cost me 4,500. I used 2 yards of satin, which is 2,000 naira. 2 yards of lining, 1,400. 5 yards of tulle net, 2,500. My zipper is 200, and then my thread is 500 naira. Now, this excludes the lace material, okay, because I'm not the one that got the lace material, so it's not included. This is just other things that I bought. So let's just assume, since the lace is not up to half year, let's just say is 3,000 naira. Okay, so now in total everything should be 14,100. So I will just round it up to the nearest number, which is, let's say, it's 15,000 naira. Now my total cost is 15,000 naira. So the next thing you need to do is to apply a profit margin. So you can use a 2 times or 3 times markup to generate your gain. Okay, now what I mean is that since everything I'm using, everything is 15,000 naira cost price, so I need to multiply by 3, okay, which is 45,000. That is to say, this dress can sell between 45,000, that is the least, to 70,000-80,000, depending on your location or depending on the client that you have. All right, so if the client wants to use this for, let's say, a birthday photo shoot, of course the price will go up to 70-80. All right, so but don't stress yourself. If you're just starting up, just take your time. You can start with the 2 times or 2.5. okay, if you're scared of chasing your clients away, you can just start a bit. But once you've gathered more clients, you need to step up so you can be generating a reasonable income for yourself.
Two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, the summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay young forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Here is the final look, although I've not added my lining. So all I need to do is to use my veil net and create layers on my lining and then attach it to the dress so that it will look puffy. All right, for the puff sleeve and how to make your ball dress fluffy, I already have videos on that. Kindly check them out. See you in my next video.